Timaya came out just some hours ago that Nigerian government to come to the aid of the Bayelsans. Some Abokis, these are Fulani herders, are now invading their farms with their cattle, eating the little farm produce is people have been able to grow. We know how the Ogoni, how the Bayelsans lands have been polluted by oil spillage here and there. But it seems it has now touched the Bayelsan people. The Fulanis have found their way into the creeks, into the little farmlands they have in Bayelsa. A quick rundown of how the Fulani herders were able to achieve this. First and foremost, the Fulanis infiltrated through the Sokoto state of the Nigerian country. They came in through that part. From there, they continued their journey, or should I say their conquest, into Zamfara, then into Katsina, and into Kano State, northern part of Kaduna. All right, then they went to Bauchi and so on and so forth. They started coming down to the south. They stepped into Ilorin, stepped into Kogi, stepped into Benue before their forefather, the progenitor of the Fulani conquest, met his Waterloo, and that is Uthman Fodio. Several years later, which is around 200 plus, because the Fulani conquest started in 1804. Now, over 200 years later, they have reignited that. In the last 10 years, we can see how much the Fulanis have been able to record successes on several landslides. They've had so many landmarks achievements. Look at what they've achieved in Plateau. Look at what they've achieved in Benue, whereby they are sacking people. I'll also show you a video where people have to run, thousands of Benueans running from their farmlands because just about 30 Fulani herders invaded them with sophisticated rifles, automatic rifles, AK-49. Now, let me go back to the issue of Bayelsa. The Benue, the Middle Beltans have been under the siege of these marauding Fulani herders for a very long time. In fact, it got to a point it extended into some northern part of Enugu and Ebonyi. But those our brothers who are in the south have always been on the notion that it is none of their business, that they do not care, because the Fulanis can never get to their own farmlands. You know why I am worried? The person lodging the complaint is not an ordinary citizen. Timaya is not an ordinary citizen. Timaya is a renowned Nigerian music celebrity, a maestro, a man who has won multiple awards. He took it to his page, his official Twitter page. He announced that the Nigerian government should come to their aid now. Otherwise, the Fulani people will run them over. Will sack all the Bayelsans. Will take over their farmlands, and their cows will start eating all the leaves, whatever they think they have as farm produce. Before you know it, starvation will set in. So many years ago, when the likes of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu started this campaign of anti-open grazing, when the people like Sunday Igboho came out and started saying that enough is enough, that no country should operate in this shape, manner and form Nigeria operates, wherein some people will go through the struggle of tilling the soil, doing every goddamn thing to ensure that they harvest what they sow so that they can plant what they want to eat. But some elements from the faraway north will come into that farm and throw in their cows. These cows, which are so destructive, within a period of 1 hour, these cows, I tell you, they've consumed a corn farm of about 10 hectares of land. This is how destructive the Fulanis and their cattle are. We saw how so many Biafrans have fought against this rampage of the Fulani and their cows. In fact, there are videos out there where we saw when some ESN officers were actually gunning down these cows. But you know what we got in return? The government began to support these Fulani herders. In fact, today the government is setting people up for death sentence just because they defended themselves against these marauding Fulani herders. So it shouldn't be a situation wherein ordinary Nigerians who are seeking good governance, when they speak and the celebrities cannot back them up, because yes, the celebrities that we know, they have a louder voice, and in fact they have a global presence. Remember when Davido went to America and said that Nigeria is not safe for investment? That word alone drove away so much investment that some investors, like the Indian investors, American investors, even an Elon Musk, had a second thought. Like, oh my God, I wanted to go and invest a lithium factory. And they're not. When your celebrity is saying this, which is a statement of fact, then I don't think it is safe for me. Our celebrities must understand that a revolution or a drastic change will fall in line when they begin to support such change. We see how these politicians pay up our celebrities, they pay up our pastors, they just try to use money to buy their voice, and then they silence them. They tell them, you know what, just it's either you campaign for me or you just keep quiet. When I'm doing something that is wrong, don't speak. When I'm doing something that is right, speak. A Timaya who surprisingly performed in the they call it Thanksgiving for Tinubu's victory as the presidential aspirant in 2023, because I remember very well that Timaya performed a sad concert. They call it City Boy concert thereabout. Today he is now crying that the Fulani has gotten to his homeland, and by that reason they can no longer farm. They're having issues in their farms. The cows are just invading their farms, eating their farm produce. By extension, this simply means that their people will become poorer, they become destitute. In fact, they become internally displaced, just as we have it in Benue. Today, I don't think we've had a situation where Two-Face Idibia has protested against the government regarding the insecurity in his homeland. I don't think we have seen where our Nigerian and actresses will come out and protest in large mass against the malfeasance of the President Tinubu administration. You know why? It's because most of them have, one, collected money, and secondly, their family have not been touched directly. This is why they are all complicit. I mean, look at the likes of Whiskey. The Whiskey that we know has a very large audience. If you go to their Twitter page, you see that these guys, they command the attention of millions of Nigerians. A Whiskey might be having like 12 million, a video might be having like 15 million, or vice versa. These are people that if they really want to shake the system, Because yes, the government does not fend for them, and indeed, most of these celebrity they can decide to stay away from Nigeria for 1 year. They can even decide to stay away from Nigeria for as long as they speak against the current misgovernance happening in Nigeria today. But why have they all been silent? Why has Whiskey in particular? Why has he been silent? Why has he not been castigating this Tinubu president? Or is Whiskey a Yoruba bigot? Or does he want to tell me that these policies, these hard-earned policies, these ill-thought policies of Tinubu are not in any way even affecting him? Yes, we understand he might be earning in dollars. What about his siblings? Are they also earning in dollars? What about his own friends? So we must get to a point whereby our celebrities will see the need to speak up. When the likes of Nnamdi Kanu started this campaign since 2011, 2012, when he started preaching this, when you add that up, you see that is over 10 years, that's over a decade. When they started saying that Nigeria can never coexist, Nigerians cannot call themselves a country if we are in a contraption. Some people see themselves as superior above others. I repeat, when some people see themselves superior, for instance, the Fulani see themselves as being superior against all the Southerners, whether you are Igbo, whether you are Yoruba, whether you are Hausa, whether you are Ishekiri, whether you are Ijebu, whatever the case, whether you are a Badagry person, the Fulani believe that the country belongs to them, and by that they believe they have their own several or separate constitution that they operate about. And this is why when you see that when a Fulani man commits an atrocity, within a period of 6 to 12 hours, this man would have been released from the police station. And you will find out that even you who he committed the assault on, you are still locked up in the jail or cell as the case may be, and you might even spend up so many days, or in fact, you might even lose your life. Yeah, because the system has been rigged, and the celebrities that we have must be ready to speak up. They cannot continue to be quiet. The likes of Nnamdi Kanu has called them out in the past. He has called every religious leader. Separating the country does not mean we will no longer share our close ties as separated nations. Because operating Nigeria as it were is almost impossible, because you're going to have dissenting reasoning. You're going to have dissenting political outlook. Okay? So we must understand that we have to be divided for us to move forward. When we are united, there's always conflict of interest. There's always argument of me, I want to practice these religious laws. No, you cannot practice it. After all, you start hearing words like Lagos is my own. You go back to Anambra State. You go back and whatnot. So these kinds of arguments are primordial. They are too medieval and they are too archaic. We must begin to have courageous celebrities that will speak truth to power. They must be ready to speak truth to power, confront the power. I mean, this was the purpose of music. Purpose of music was to pass a very strong message, was to communicate. During the slave era, the blacks communicated in songs. When the first black woman who fought to liberate herself and who later went back to liberate more slaves, she communicated in music. Music is a way you send signals across. I believe if we were gonna have a breakaway whereby we will begin to enjoy dividends of democracy in our individual smaller fractions, our celebrities have a critical role to play, and they have to begin to talk about what is going on, the misgovernance, the sufferness. You done too much, you done too much, haba. When the likes of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who is the forefathers of most of all these new generation hip hop and Gen Zs, who they call themselves Afrobeat crooners. Yes, while we're enjoying the songs of Fela, he was still passing strong message. Take, for instance, an example. Uh, Teacher, no teach me nonsense. A song where he said that Obasanjo na thief, 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 all of them na thief, thief, international thief, thief. You be armed robber, you international. I mean, these are songs that conscientize the people, not the one of Shedia bum 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 bum, Shedia bum 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 bum. Those ones, the slave masters are forever happy when the slave do not even understand that they have to galvanize themselves in larger population. Yeah, because the slave master will only remain relevant provided the slaves are get to understand their value when they come together as a large number. And so he will, of course, finance all those celebrities who are singing those gibberish. This is why you see that on social media there's always an agenda to distract people within a tweak. Sheikh Tinubu right now today is being attacked heavily by the Northerners. They are saying he is sharing rice for them in the north, and meanwhile he is sharing millions of naira in cash in the south. Does he think we are beggars? Is that what Sheikh Tinubu thinks? Those same Northerners, watch out what is going to happen to them in the next few days. There might be a new trend or a new information that would instantly divert their attention, and before you know it, everybody will go home. So our celebrities must come in. What Timaya has done, well, I have to commend him. I think for him to muster that courage, I don't think is a small feat.
You there, second desk, blue jacket. What is your name?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis, please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again.
I don't understand.
I am not going to ask a second time. Thank you. Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone?
Social order?
To protect a person's personal rights.
Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed I was. So, why didn't any of you protest? Why didn't you want to prevent this injustice? What you have just learnt, you wouldn't have understood in 1,000 hours of lectures unless you lived it. You didn't say anything because you weren't affected yourself. And this attitude speaks against you and against life. You think it doesn't concern you, so it's none of your business. Well, I'm here to say, if you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice, and there will be nobody there to stand before you. Every day an injustice happens in business, sport, or on the tram. Relying on someone else to take care of it is not good enough. I am here to teach you the power of your voice. I want you to learn critical thinking to empower you to stand up for what is right, even if it means going against what everyone else is doing.